Fantastic. I'm up here to give you a brief update on what's going on at Scottsdale City Council. I'd like to start off with something that Representative Colladin was talking to us about, which is water. In the city of Scottsdale, we get 70% of our water from the Central Arizona Project, which is that Colorado River water, and it's all of North Scottsdale. So those residents who are Scottsdale residents who live in LD3, 100% of your water comes from the Colorado River. We have a water treatment plant here up in North Scottsdale off of Hualapai and Pima. We recently conducted a tour. Several members of the audience here were able to join us. Deb, Jamie, Michelle, my husband John, a bunch of George Califf, a bunch of folks were able to come with us and see our incredible water treatment plant. We take that cap water in North Scottsdale, treat it, and then bring it into your homes. Recently, we did get a rather disturbing update from some of our water lobbyists, and what Alex said is true. We are facing serious cuts here in the state of Arizona from the Colorado River, and if the contracts are adhered to as written today, it could be as much as a 50% cut to the state of Arizona from the Colorado River. Why that's particularly disturbing for the city of Scottsdale is, again, we get 70% of our water from the Colorado River. So that could potentially be a very significant cut to the city of Scottsdale. And yet, I find myself still hopeful, and here's why. Arizona is an incredible state. We are incredibly resilient. It was 100 years ago that we had this idea of coming together and creating a beautiful area with agriculture, with population, and we needed water to do that, and we came together as an area, as several states, and we made that happen, and we fought for that. We worked hard. We fought for the Hoover Dam. We fought for the Bartlett Dam. We've stood together and fought for our water. So I believe that we will stand together again, but to be honest, the Hobbs administration, they're really not helping us. We have sent City of Scottsdale folks up to these negotiations. They are at a standstill. We've missed deadline after deadline after deadline. It's now in the federal government's hands. Does anyone here believe that Trump is going to allow Arizona to dry up and die? No, none of us believe that. So there is reason for hope. But it's true, we're in a very uncomfortable circumstance, and so that's going to be something that you're going to continue to hear more and more about from the city, from the state. Now, one of the things that Representative Colladin mentioned is that factions are being created in the rural areas. So one of the questions I asked, and trying to understand the landscape of what's going on with water, is, well, what about agriculture? Isn't agriculture a huge portion of our water use in the state of Arizona? You know, residential is such a small portion, but agriculture is like 70% of the water use. So we get all of the lettuce in the entire United States comes from Yuma every winter. Are we really going to go without lettuce for the entire United States because of these cuts? And the answer that I got is that we have priority orders in these contracts that are decades and decades old. And so the agriculture in Yuma has higher priority than the Phoenix metro area. So agriculture has higher priority than people in our contracts. I found that to be astounding. And one of the things that I really don't believe in the end is that we're going to choose lettuce for our tacos over the people of the state of Arizona, right? So, oh, Doug was there too at the water treatment plant. It was amazing, wasn't it, Doug? Yes. So we're going to work really hard with you. We're going to work really hard with the representative that you choose, and hopefully that the Board of Supervisors selects one of your great choices. We're going to work really hard with our representatives to make sure that the city of Scottsdale is represented and that your water continues to flow. But you might start seeing some ads from us, things like, turn off the tap when you're brushing your teeth. Let's try to take shorter showers. 60% of residential water use is your exterior landscaping. So we might ask you to consider your grass, things like that, because it does look like a water cut is coming our way. The good news is that in the city of Scottsdale, we are extremely efficient with our water. We are allocated 81,000 hectares per year and currently using 60. So if we get a 20% water cut in the city of Scottsdale, that's not going to change our water use. It's going to make us be more careful with the resource that we have. If we get a 30% cut, that's when we're going to really start having deeper conversations. And again, I just don't believe that we're going to take a 50% cut. So we are working diligently on your water. We're doing what we can on our end to make sure that water continues to flow. But it is going to be important to have your partnership with this moving forward. So we'll keep you updated on that. Another thing that I wanted to give you guys an update on is the transparency and accountability that we've been looking for from our partners. So you may have, if you're on my email distribution list, you will have seen some of the things that we've been working on for the last couple of months. We had an opportunity to select a vendor for marketing for our Old Town area. Who here has been to Old Town Scottsdale? Everybody! Everybody loves Old Town Scottsdale. One of the things that has happened over time is that our vendors were really focusing on a different demographic. And I think some of us have maybe forgotten about some of those gems that are in Old Town Scottsdale. So we were looking for a vendor to reach out to folks who live in North Scottsdale, folks who live in Paradise Valley, travelers, and really bring people back to Old Town Scottsdale for fine dining, arts, culture. We have so many beautiful shows. We have the beautiful Museum of the West. It's a Smithsonian affiliate. We have some beautiful luxury areas that we would love everyone to come see. So we had the opportunity to invite vendors, and we did an RFP. The winning RFP, the vendor was offering a contract that would spend $400,000 of $1.4 million on actual advertising and $1 million on overhead. And council said, oh my gosh, that's so much overhead. And so much of the dollars aren't being spent on the actual item. In your business, if you are looking to advertise your business, would you be okay with 1/3 of the dollars going to actual advertising? No, you would ask for 60, 70, 80% of the dollars to go actually towards advertising. So we declined that contract. That has been taken in-house within the city resources because turns out we already have folks who are running ads on Facebook and Instagram. We already have folks who can make videos. We already have folks who are running social media posts. And so my goodness, we take 6 people and we add a little bit here and there. And then we're able to do it ourselves in-house. And so we're gonna treat your money like it's ours. We're gonna treat the city of Scottsdale more like a business. So now we're spending $1 million on advertising. That was in the month of December. In the month of January, the Museum of the West came to us and they said, we have an opportunity. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They were awarded the Eddie Basha Western Collection. Now, Eddie Basha, yes, from Basha's grocery store, he had the most incredible Western art. It was an absolutely beautiful display in Chandler where he lived. When he passed, this was an art collection that was offered across the United States. And there were museums bidding on it across the United States. And the Museum of the West won. The Museum of the West was awarded this beautiful, magnificent, wonderful Western art collection. They worked really, really hard, and they raised $17 million from our local community and from all over the United States to create another adjacent space, 12 million square feet, just to feature this fantastic Eddie Basha collection. Now, let me ask another question. How many people in here have been to the Museum of the West? Oh, I love it. This is fantastic. So, the Museum of the West is a wonderful museum. There are projections 8 years ago or so were that they would be receiving about 150,000 visitors per year at this time. They are receiving 50,000 visitors per year right now. So they're not hitting their projections at all. And one of the things that we have been starting to have conversations with them about is how can we do that? So they really wanted to promote this Eddie Basha opportunity. Wow, we're gonna be releasing it in March, and so we want to put out a lot of promotions, TV ads, mail, Facebook ads, all kinds of good stuff. Would the city be willing to partner with us? And they were asking for $90,000. They're going to contribute another $60,000 to have $150,000 to advertise the Museum of the West. And of course, they first asked for more money, but the city said, let's go back to 90. When it came to council, we were thinking, gosh, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for advertising. Isn't it their responsibility? They're a nonprofit. They're not an arm of the city. And so we debated that significantly. We went back and forth at council. And finally, I made the motion that we bring the Museum of the West back and ask them to talk to us and show us the results. How many people did you get in the door? What was the advertising spend on this and that? And how many eyeballs saw it? And then how many people are coming to the Museum of the West because of your advertising? We want some accountability. We want some transparency for your money, the way that's being spent. So now we're going to have this amazing opportunity. The Museum of the West is going to get to advertise, but also they're going to come back and we're going to learn how well that went, so that that will inform future decisions for us if we know that they're either going to be successful with the money that we give them or not. So another act of transparency. So that was a really good win. And then here this last month, we were working on the contract with the Scottsdale Center for Performing Arts, which is run by Scottsdale Arts. Now, who has been down to Scottsdale Center for Performing Arts? Who's been down to Scottsdale Center for Performing Arts in the last year? Ooh, a lot less. Well, John, you don't count. So, one of the things that has happened over the course of time is that we do audits, right? The city does audits of our partners. Scottsdale Arts is a business partner of ours. They're a nonprofit. We give them about $6 million a year to run all of our arts programs. So that's all the public art that you see. It's the Center for Performing Arts. It's the SMOCA. It's the Museum of Contemporary Art. It's the review of developers when they're building a building and they're required to build public art. We review that public art. And it's also maintaining our art. So they do quite a bit for us. In addition to booking shows that have paid tickets. So there is art that is free for the public to see, the love statue, things like that. And then there is art performances with paid tickets. So there's two aspects that they run there for us. So we were negotiating the contract, and one of the things that came up was that in prior audits, there's been a concern with the audit committee that they're just not bringing in enough people to the performances, the paid performances. And what that does is it helps offset our expenses. We can give them less money if they bring in more people for the paid performances. So all you guys have pretty much been down there to see it, but not so much recently, which sort of proves the point. So when the contract came up, I made the motion, I walked through the contract, and I said, you know, gosh, it feels like we need to have not only KPIs, this is the first time that they were being asked to have key performance indicators, and what we were asking them to do was just maintain year over year. Really? So if they have a baseline of 5 people per year, and they bring in 5 people next year, that's still okay? In your business, would you be okay year over year if it was same and flat? You're saying no, right? No, that would not be okay. So one of the things that I asked for in the contract was that we need to exceed year over year. We didn't put in 5, 10, 15, 20%, but we just said year over year, the paid subscriptions, the paid entries, they need to increase. We need to start asking ourselves for more, especially because our audits showed that Scottsdale Arts could have more folks and more behinds in the seats. We also said, hey, since we're going to have these KPIs, let's do a 3-year contract with 2 1-year renewals after that, instead of a 5-year contract. If this isn't going well, let's have an opportunity to review it, right? And then the third thing that we asked for was for a council seat on the board, because we do have council seats on the Board of Experience Scottsdale, which is our outside marketer. We have a board seat on the Scottsdale Chamber of Commerce. We're giving $6 million a year to Scottsdale Arts. Maybe they should communicate more with council so that we can all be in lockstep a little bit better. And we can hear from them and they can hear from us a little bit more often. So I'm pleased to report that my motion passed 5-2. So now we will have much, much greater transparency and accountability with Scottsdale Arts.